Hello and welcome back. I am in the decrepit pyramid, and so the issue we're running into is some of these buttons are pre-pressed, some of them are unpressing, and generally it does not let you actually progress through the area. Um, this worked in the past, and I've played through this whole section before. I'm pretty sure that's on playtest. I'm pretty sure I've cleared the whole desert on playtest before. Um, so something's changed since then, and it hasn't been with this map because nothing's changed on here. I'm going to start with this button. World Loot 6. Oh, maybe that was intentional. Okay, so this button just spawns loot. Noted. Alright. Fair and reasonable. But you know what? Nothing comes free. So what I'm going to do is erase vent. Totally getting off topic here, but I'm going to do this real quick. So you can spawn the free loot, but you're going to have to fight some trash mobs each time. Still definitely probably worth it, because then you get the loot from the fight. Yeah, you'll get the loot from the fight, and then you get the loot from the, from the loot. Okay, there we go, we got those. This will parallel run as soon as it appears. Control variable, set, random between 1 and 4. Classic as always. Additional branch. 1. Self switch A on. B. C. And D. Self switch A. B. C. And D. Okay. And also control self switch off. And I'm just going to have all of these disable all the self switches just to make it as redundant as possible. Okay. All right, next issue. Let's see. Switch 1. This one was already pressed. Miss switch 4. So upon entering, $64. So this should be off. I don't know how that got changed, because that definitely worked in the past. And now what disables these? MISC 2. There's gonna be the issue. I bet Loot Strong uses MISC 2. There it is. Bingo. Okay. So I'm just going to go through and recode all of these doors to use a different variable. Not the end of the world. Tedious, if nothing else. It does also look like... does look like it's also a one-off, which is an issue. Okay. So that's another thing I'll change. So I'm gonna, let's see, what? Player X. That's not used here at all. So this sets it to 1. Okay, so this is the reset button. You come in here, you hit that button. So variable player X 1. And I want to remove the self switch. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to swap all of these to player X. I'm going to add in that same redundancy, I think. So player X, add 1. Player X2. So ideally you'd come up, you'd hit that button. This one is different though. This is a MISC switch. So what are the MISC switches going with? Okay. Yeah, so I've got a set, 2 different sets of buttons going on here. And I'm also going to go here. Okay, yeah, so this is a redundant one. And I'm also going to add in the sound effect, because that is very unsatisfying when you hit a button and nothing happens. Okay, see, some of these make noises and some of them don't. I'm not sure what that one's supposed to be at that point. I'm going to have to go through and piece this together. But I think... okay, so these are all loot switches. Okay, so 1, 2... so this would be 3. Right, I need to also set these to player X. Okay, 1, so that'll open that. 2 will open that. 3 opens that. So then this would be 4. Okay, and that one's a world loot. Okay, 4. What is going to be 4? Is this one 4? Okay, that one's 4. So then this... becomes, oops, 5. There's the world loot. There's another misc switch. Okay. Misc switch. Ah ha ha. X6. It's 2-player X. Player X. Player X. Okay, so in theory, I should be able to clear this now with the proper supplies, which I don't have at the moment. Treasure. Okay, so I need tools. I really should just make a common event. That's tools. And I need rope. Let's do 100. And I need wood. Oops, not the airship. Player. Well, that's not ideal. So it's been about 4 days since the previous section of this video. What should have been a relatively minor fix has turned out to be an absolute disaster. For some reason, that entire map was corrupted and was causing the game to continuously crash. And the editor would crash anytime I tried to make edits. The first crash was shortly after that last clip ended. I spent 3 days trying to get things to work. Multiple corrupted backups. Finally, I was able to delete the map without the engine crashing. And now things seem to have stabilized, but it means that I have to recreate the decrepit pyramid from scratch. So I'm going to try going a bit of a different direction with it. A couple other things that I changed off screen, while just kind of testing it out and trying to get things stabilized, is the Wandering Fae. Oops, enemies, not troops. Here we go. Wandering Fae have been buffed, or their loot has been buffed specifically. So they're going to drop more of the elemental cards. They're also going to drop more of the what were these? They also have small chances to drop the HP and MP upgrade orbs. So that should make it a little bit more rewarding for those tougher fights, especially because when they were initially added, those cards were going to be very rare and hard to get. And then as things shifted, they became a much more common, fairly plentiful item that you really didn't need a special enemy just to get those from. So, that's the biggest change. In addition, things like the dagger skills no longer cost TP. The intention was there, but it just ended up being a little bit frustrating and kind of tedious, and I found that it overall took away from the combat experience. Um, because a lot of the time I ended up just not using them so that I could build up more of the TP. And using them really didn't adequately compensate for losing access to those higher TP cost skills. So no longer cost the TP. They should, I mean, they still have the 1 turn cooldown. They're still pretty consistent and useful. They should just be a lot more viable now. In addition, the weekend skills that you get from the new relic sets, they had the damage from the different dagger throws. I had intended for them to deal no damage and had left that in there by accident. But instead, I kind of did a middle ground. Now they do a flat 100 damage. They ignore defense. They ignore your damage boosts. For the most part, there's still a few that might affect them. So anything that affects certain hit skills, which isn't much. So they'll do a small amount of damage, but it should also help you gauge how much health a target has based on how much this does on their health bar. And they can critically hit, so there's that too. It'll just be another little extra bit of chip damage that you can deal to enemies now. So, with that, I'm going to get started on the decrepit pyramid. So first, let me check. Do I have one yet? Okay, we got vault key and normal keys. Okay. So I'm going to give keystone puzzles a try. So this is just going to be, let's see. Essentially, these are going to be dungeon-specific keys. You'll go into the dungeon with none. You'll have to complete puzzles or fights to get the keystones. As you get more of them, you'll deal with different puzzles, and you'll be able to access new areas using those. Let's see, what is a good... Let's just do blue. Regular, make it a key item, not usable, not consumable. There you go. Stone that functions as a key in some ruins. Okay. Simple enough. And I'm just going to be saving after everything I do until I am comfortable that the game is not going to crash and nuke everything. So, let's see. I'm going to start out something basic. Let's see, what are the dimensions? So I've got a little map drawn here on a paper gut. That's 12, so let's make this like 15, 6. Let's do like 15 by 20. 20 dungeon type, okay. So we're going to start with that. And what do I use for the other pyramid floors? Okay, so far so good. Wall. Just going to outline this real quick. We'll add in details in a minute. So let's start with think that's going to be big enough. No, I want to move that up. Oops. Actually, no, I do want that there. There we go. Okay, and let's do new pillar. Now I want is that what I want? Will that work? That'll work for now, I suppose. So one of the first things I need to establish is the key, the lock and key system. So I'll need some kind of pillar or structure that you can essentially slot the keystones into in order to open doors and access the new areas. I'm just trying to decide what I actually want that to look like. Oops, not what I meant. Plant icons. Chest. I use crystals so much. Oh, this might work, actually. Let's do that. Direction fix. Okay, let's start with conditional branch. Item. Keystone. If party has keystone. Else. Show text. Let's see, where's a spot that Calvin talks? It's been too long since I set one of those up. I want to make sure I do it right. Okay. Just going to copy that over. Show text. In the slot. And let's do a sound effect. This will be, what are the close? No, I want open. Let's do that one for now. What are the other options? Yeah, I'll stick with that one. And then this will also control self switch A on. Do event page. Move the keystone. Yes or no? Oh, right. I need to also remove the keystone from the party's inventory. Decrease. Yes. And it's going to basically do this in reverse. From the slot, increase by 1, turn that off. And what about, so let's close. Is there a gate? Not gate. Open. What is up? These all don't sound quite right. You know, I'll just leave it as door for now. There, okay. Okay. Save. This one's going to be generic gate. There we go. Actually, you know what? Can I just make this? Actually, I got a better idea. Whoops. That's not what I want to delete. I want to delete that one. Keystone, self switch A off. Now this is going to become a grinding sound. Set movement root player. Move. Let's go move down. Down, left, left. Skip if you cannot move. Oops. Set movement route. This event. And it's going to move left and up. Play sound effect. Okay, grinding, maybe? No, there was no grinding. Is there? noise. Yeah, no. Okay, player down. Now they just need to go left. So putting in the keystone should move it up, over and up, and open that area. And then removing the keystone, we'll do the opposite. Get the player out of the way. So if they approach from the bottom, they'll move left and down. If they move to the side, they'll left and down. So yeah, out of the way. And then this will move down. Oh, it's not turned down. Move down. And then move right. Okay. Okay. Player. Not a door. Why am I am struggling today. Treasure. There it is. Item. Keystone. Alright, there we go. Wait, what? Why is... Huh? Oh, I forgot to actually set that part. There we go. Let's try this again. Nice. That is wonderful. I like that. That's gonna be, yeah. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. That is much more entertaining than generic door. I'm actually gonna extend the height a little bit then. Okay, and this one's going to be the same thing, except the player doesn't need to back off. And it will just go down. Down, down. Down, down, down. One more. Okay, there we go. Now the part that's going to be difficult here is so this is going to require actually no, I can make this work pretty well. Okay, so this will just need to be move up, up. So regardless of what happens, this is just moving up. This will require conditional branch. Actor. Character, here we go, facing. So if they're facing left, it means they're going to be on the right side. So the player is going to have to move up, left, up, up, up. And if the player is facing right, we have to move up, right. And if the player is facing down, they're just going to do up, up, up. Now this will now require 2 keystones. Wonderful. Absolute cinema. And then I'm also going to have these gather. No, gather. Where is it? I know it's on. There we go. Gather followers. Yeah, so that one should never be a problem. This one, it'll gather follows after each step. Good. This one. Oh, actually, this one like that. That one is easy. This event, move up. And then move left a couple times, gather followers, and move down. Easy. And then this will be the last one. And I think what I'll have it do have it move up, 2, and then over, I think. So it's kind of behind that wall. Move up, and then move left. And on this one, if you are interacting with it, conditional branch, character is facing down. So if the character is facing down, they'll be above it. So you'll need to move right 1, and then down 3. Let's do down 4 just in case. And if the player is facing left, you'll just need to go down. Okay, and then this event will move right, and then down, and then down. Four keystones. Ah, I can't pass through those. Darn. Alright, up one more then. Perfect. Okay. I want to leave this chest here for now. Okay, so this save. Decrepit pyramid entrance. This is going to go to there. All right. And this is going to go to there. This needs to be stairs. Where are my stairs? I think just stairs should be fine. I think it's just, yeah, it's just stairs. Transfer to the basement. Now, I suppose the question is also, will those stay? I think they should, since it's self-switches. Oh. That needs to go to there. Take two. Okay. I see the issue here. Easy fix, but so this will just drop you over here. And then I'll need the, where's my random maps? It's you? Yes. So you, okay, random maps, leaves map 31. Is test room 42? Okay, test room is 42. All right. So this is map 232. 232 events 1, 3, 4, and 5. That's easy to remember, at least. Three, 4, and 5. Okay. And then actually I'm also going to set that here as well, just as a failsafe. Okay. So the idea here is going to be you'll fight a handful of elemental enemies, each one a different element. Each one will then drop a keystone. You can use those keystones to access more areas of the pyramid. Pretty straightforward, all things considered. Direction fix, action button, same as player. And there is battle processing. This is Fireswarm 6. Can lose if win. Change items. Keystone. Sprites dropped a keystone. And then if lose, nothing happens. Because that's already accounted for in the events. This will also erase this event. And then new event page, this will be... Oh, right, this doesn't count. I can't count if you have multiple items. Only if you have an item at all. Okay, variable. We're going to use player Y. And this will also set player Y set to 1. So each time you fight an enemy, it'll increment that up. And then that way you won't be able to keep getting more keystones. Pretty straightforward there. And then leaving, change items, keystone, decrease 25. More keystones than you can ever possibly have. I'm also going to save common events, unstick me. The wonderful and glorious unstick me option. I'm going to throw that in there. And then, just to be absolutely sure, we're going to head to the temple. And leaving the temple is also going to take your keystones. Oh yeah, I forgot to have that in place. Okay, so no way to stockpile keystones. Straightforward there. Nothing you can do about it. That should make things much easier. And I do plan on using keystones later on as well. I have at least one optional side area that's going to be very heavily built around the keystones. It'll be a large scale kind of puzzle dungeon. That's what this is planned to be. So the idea is this is going to be kind of a battle tower. You'll fight through wide range of enemies that'll help you get, various loot. It'll let you repeat those fights that you really enjoyed. Add in some tougher, unique enemies. There'll be some unique fish and things that you can get there. Then This is going to be the large puzzle dungeon, multiple floors. It's going to have unique equipment that you can find. Uh, Obviously, very water heavy, water focused. So probably water and then ice towards the bottom. And then this is going to be random islands. I'm going to implement more of those over time. But those will give you more kind of side areas once you get to the end game that you can explore and check out. Then the plan, there's another plan as well. Somewhere back here, there's going to be a sort of a mausoleum that opens up, and that's going to be kind of the inverse of the battle tower. You'll work your way down, fighting various types of undead that you're not going to see in other places in the game. During New Game Plus, I might implement those enemies because they are going to be tougher enemies. And I want New Game Plus to feel not necessarily tougher, but I want it to feel different than your first playthrough. I want it to build on top of everything that you've kind of figured out, everything you've mastered. And so you come into that second new game, or that second round, you'll be able to really use those skills, and it'll help keep things fresh. They won't be it won't be a full repeat. It'll be a little bit easier to get those fate fragments, things like that. Okay, so I'm gonna end the video here, I think. I've got a ton of work to do on this. This is definitely going to be more than a single video's worth of doing, and I need to get this entire dungeon fixed and put together before I can release the next update, which, given that this dungeon in the current version of the game causes the soft lock that you see in the end of that last playtest video, that's kind of the priority here. So I'm going to get this at least into a minimally functional state, get the update pushed out as soon as I can, and then I'll resume that previous playtest and try to finish off the desert and head into the ice area. So with that, thank you for joining me. I'll see you all in the next video. Hopefully with a proper playtest. If it's not playtesting Calvin's Gallery, it'll be with some more playtesting of different indie games. I've got a short-term playtest access for a couple games right now. That Hell Survival game has had a ton of updates. The developer wants me to give it another play. And then there's been a couple other indie devs that have been reached out and are interested in me trying out their games. So I'm going to try to get through some of that backlog, give them some good feedback, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the future. Out of them, you're just stuck. Some kind of medicine.